says we're live.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. We had some technical difficulties with something. I don't know what happened.
We had 60 seconds of a really tight sphincter there because nothing was working. Now we're here. We're here with you.
My sphincter was fine. Thanks very much.
I thought
Speak
mine
for
was
your
a little
own
tight.
sphincter. Okay.
Yeah. Always speak for your own sphincter. I think
Always.
that's probably a rule of life.
That's right. Anyways, hey, welcome back to Monday Night Live. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas.
Yes. I had a
Or
Merry Christmas.
Whatever you celebrated.
I eat carbs and I paid for it. How about you?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I paid for it.
I don't even know if it was worth it on this year because I feel so bad in the first place.
It's not worth it for me. I don't know why.
What did I eat that was worth it?
I don't know why I thought I should eat some carbs.
Oh, the fried okra that I made. That was
Yeah.
good. That was good.
Yeah. I'm just glad that all the holidays are now over.
Me too.
And I've got no freaking excuse to even look at a carb.
You didn't even really eat many carbs.
Not many, but more than I'm used to.
Yeah, you didn't eat carnivore.
No.
Some sides.
I cheated on carnivore with keto, 100%.
Yeah. Most of our food was keto at Christmas. Thanksgiving, we had way more carbohydrates because we weren't the ones hosting. So.
Welcome back, you guys. Don't forget to remind your mama or your aunt or your next door neighbor who always forgets. Text them right now. Send them an email or a direct message and say, hey, they're live. Go right now.
I feel like we're going to have a slow live this week because most people are still in that. Oh, well, it's that weird week between Christmas and New Year's where nobody really knows which way is up and we're just kind of struggling and we're like, January 1.
You're in limbo. You feel like nothing really counts. Well, guess what? It counts.
We'll push that. We're just going to push that a few weeks.
Yep.
That's a great idea, but let's push that till January 1. No one does anything from Christmas to January 1. And then everybody's like, okay, let's do this.
Exactly. All right, guys, for the next hour, we're going to be answering as many questions as we possibly can. We can't answer them all, but we're going to try.
Yes. Did you already talk about Nigel?
I didn't. Nigel's got a question.
Dr. Berry, one thing I was thinking about is how modern diet wrong thinking has invaded even TV shows. For example, The Flash has a countless insane amount of calories diet because his powers burn through electrolytes. Apparently. Well, The Flash is a fictional character.
But I mean, if you're Flash and if you're doing
he is burning a lot of calories.
Inhuman things, you may need to count calories and try to up your calories. Yeah, you may need to eat lots of carbs if you're actually Flash Gordon. Is it Flash Gordon or another Flash?
I think there's more than one Flash.
Yeah. But if you're doing unhuman things, and that goes for like professional athletes, football players, basketball players, they may need to eat some carbs. But if you're just a regular guy or regular woman and you're just like, I feel like I need to carb up for.
Hey, this is a great question. Rachel, what do you think about the new revamped WW Personal Points Program? I'm glad you asked this. I'm going to do a deep dive because look,
you should sign up for Weight Watchers.
Every single year they have a new program, right? And you know what is becoming common about these new programs is it's looser and looser.
Yeah.
Like they basically let you do whatever you want.
More 0-point foods.
And then they make it structured. But basically you can do whatever you want. Yep. But I'm going to sign up for it and see what's up.
Please do.
I'm like, what does that even mean?
I'll tell you guys what I think about Weight Watchers. I think they're in trouble financially. If you look at their stock price over the last 5 years, it's not pretty at all. And I don't know if it was the current CEO or the former CEO of Weight Watchers, WW now, because they keep rebranding because they have to rebrand because they're losing money. She said, we will never have a keto option. We will never have a keto option.
Well, they're not going to label it that, no.
Right. But I guarantee you, if the profits keep tanking, they're going to come out with a low carb, or they might call it banting. They're going to come up with a low carb version because that's what works and that's what's sustainable.
I don't think so.
And when the profits tank enough, they're going to have to do something or go broke.
Because people want to eat their carbs. So people are wanting to sign up for the program that says, like so-and-so said, the potatoes are 0 points. So that is what brings in the money, telling people you can have whatever you want. You guys have seen the commercials. You can eat bread. You can eat pasta. Who
Yeah.
doesn't want to sign up for that?
Yeah.
You can eat whatever you want and still lose weight. Yeah, that's
Well,
gonna
that's
sell
because
much.
it's just called WW now. Now, if the Weight Watchers, if any of the people on the board of directors, if you're watching, I'm going to solve your financial problems. Change your name to Weight Losers and have a keto option. Boom. Your stock price is going to go through the roof. You're going to have 50,000 new signups overnight, and you'll actually help people lose weight. But if you want to continue to just be WW and basically don't let people just watch their weight as it slowly increases, keep having 0-point high carb foods and keep not helping people lose weight, and you'll be out of business in another 5 years. That's just my opinion.
No, now they've got influencers on their side now.
Yeah, which costs
In
a lot of
fact,
money.
I've seen a few keto people sign up for the new WW. So I'm saying, like,
Yep.
who doesn't want to eat whatever they want and lose weight?
Yep.
Everybody does.
I've been fasting all day, guys. Haven't broke my fast. I'm trying some decaf coffee to see if it affects my sleep. You notice it's black, no cream. I've got to redeem myself after my Christmas.
John Sebastian, happy holidays. Darkberry, how do you feel about processed meat?
As long as it's 0 carb, as long as it's not just full of literal chemical toxins from a chemical factory, like a lot of, like Impossible Burgers are, Impossible Meats, and what's the other one? The other plant-based burger? Beyond Burger, yeah. If it's filled with a lot of chemical shit like those are, don't eat it. But if it's just ground up meat that's been cured.
Technically, all meat is processed.
Right. If it's chopped or sliced or cut up in any way, it's processed.
Yeah.
But I think you're asking about bologna and
Deli
hot
meat.
dogs, deli meat. I think it's fine. Just make sure it's as close to 0 carb as possible and that it's made of real meat. It's fine. It's not as good as grass-fed, grass-finished, Panda Massage, but it's way the hell better than eating Doritos and Lucky Charms and even Special K in total.
Matisha, 10 months carnivore, lost 58 pounds. Best thing ever. Quick question. What would the heat from the bone broth destroy the iodine drops?
Nope. Great question. Iodine is an element. You cannot destroy elements with heat. You could heat your bone broth to 82,000 degrees and you would not destroy the iodine. Now, you might destroy some of the vitamins and break up some of the proteins, but the iodine will be in there 100%.
I don't know how to pronounce this. Dr. Berry, you said carbs are FONE?
Fine for athletes.
Fine for athletes. So how come Tim Noakes has developed diabetes? Is Tim Noakes an athlete?
I haven't heard that Professor Noakes has diabetes. I'll check into that, but I don't think he has diabetes. I think his A1C is beautiful, but I'll check.
Julia's good question. So summer sausage says it's 0 carb, but there is sugar in the ingredients. Should I avoid this?
Yeah. So sugar is used in the processing and the curing of the meat. But as long as it's less than 1 gram of carbs per serving, and the serving size is a reasonable amount, it's fine. It's not going to be enough sugar to meaningfully raise your insulin level.
Charlotte, is keto okay after gastric sleeve surgery?
100%. If you've had any of the bariatric surgeries, any of the weight loss surgeries, you can do keto just fine. You may not be able to fast as long as some of us do. You may not be able to eat 1 meal a day, but you can absolutely get all the benefits of eating a very, very low carbohydrate diet, 100%.
Jane, I have osteopenia due to breast cancer treatments. Do you agree with vitamin D supplementation?
100%. And you need some K2 as well. I've got a whole video about how to strengthen your bones, 2 or 3 actually on this YouTube channel. After this live, Jane, go and watch those 2 or 3 videos I've got about bone health, and you'll understand every single thing you need to know to make your bones stronger, because you don't want your osteopenia to turn into osteoporosis.
Lisa, is Nisha coaching yet? Okay, so starting on January 1, go follow my YouTube channel if you're not already doing it. Nisha Loves It. It's linked in the description. If you just Google Nisha Berry YouTube, that should pop it up. Follow over there because I'm going to be doing the announcement. But the short version is January 1, my private wellness support community will be available. From there, you will be able to do 30-day challenge groups every so many months, and then also available to those in my group. If you need it, which most people do not need one-on-one coaching, I will take some, because I'm telling you, most people just need the support and the encouragement and the deeper, more intimate Q&A sessions that aren't, 2,000 people on the live stream. So you're getting your answers. or you're getting your question answered more thoroughly. So that will be available January 1. But if you go to my YouTube channel, I'll be doing a video and a live stream over there, and the links will all be over there. So.
Sean just finished my book, Lies My Doctor Told Me, and he said he loved it. Thank you, Sean. And then Scroogeyful says, thoughts on Ozempic for weight loss. I think about Ozempic for weight loss and the new formulation of Ozempic, just like I would think about smoking crack for weight loss or taking Fen-Phen for weight loss. Yeah, it works. You're going to lose weight, but is it healthy to take a chemical that artificially mucks up your metabolism? Is that the way you want to lose weight? There's nothing natural about Ozempic. It is made in a chemical factory by people wearing biohazard suits. Okay. It's not healthy. It's not normal. It's not natural. That's not the way to lose weight. If you're holding too much body fat, you need to eat a proper human diet and lose that weight naturally, normally, and healthily. Healthily.
I would not be able to say that 3 times fast. Punit. Hi there. For those who do just carnivore keto with very few vegetables and fruits, how does one feed the good gut bacteria with fiber and all the phytonutrients, etc., since carnivore is zero fiber?
Yep. So you've been taught, as many of us were incorrectly, that you need fiber to feed your gut bacteria, or you need soluble fiber, insoluble fiber, phytochemicals, phytonutrients. None of that is true. If that were true, there would be a recommended daily intake of fiber or phytonutrients. And there's not one, because you don't need any. You can eat zero carb. There are carnivores who have been eating no plant material whatsoever for 20 years, and they feel great. They have wonderful bowel health. They don't have bowel cancer. You don't need any of that to feed your good gut bacteria. When you cut the carbohydrate intake down, you naturally select for the good bacteria. You can ask any carnivore who's been carnivore more than 3 months. Their bowel movements are pristine. They have no problems. They don't have bowel cancer.
Hey, shout out to our moderators, Paola and Kevin and Mitzi. If you see people with the little blue name and a wrench?
I think it's
those are our official moderators.
Yeah, so. And they're great at answering newbie questions. They might be answering some of your questions.
Okay, hang on. I've had a good question here.
Hey, Roxana, how's it going?
Pam's Healthy Hangout. I'm new and I found you 2 weeks ago and went carnivore the next day. I've tried everything on the planet to get healthy. I had some success, but never sustainable. With carnivore, I've already lost 7 pounds. Thank you.
Beautiful. Don't calorie restrict. Don't portion control. If you're hungry, eat meat and eggs. That's it. Every time you're hungry, eat meat and eggs until you can't eat another bite. You'll continue to burn fat and lose fat, and you'll continue to feel healthier and healthier.
Gurinder.
Dr.
Barry, I've watched your YouTube videos about the proper human diet. There is evidence that humans eat tubers and root vegetables for millennia. Is it true?
Yes, it is true for millennia. That would be several thousand years. A proper human diet is based on the diet that human beings ate 15,000 years ago or further back. Okay, because about 10 to 15,000 years ago, we started to actually farm vegetables and grains because we couldn't get the huge fatty game that we once were able to get. Nobody knows exactly what happened about 12,000 years ago yet. There's several theories, but nobody knows for sure. But we basically went from a world populated with these humongous fatty animals that we could kill because we're very good at that. And there were none of them. And so we had to start growing grains and growing vegetables and stuff. So yeah, we've been eating vegetables and grains for hundreds of years, even a few thousand years, but in no meaningful quantity more than 12, 13,000 years ago. That's a proper human diet.
Also, we weren't eating them 24/7, 365 because climate.
Right. Yeah.
We didn't have 18-wheelers and trucks shipping us avocados from Mexico all year long and potatoes. Like, let me potatoes.
And if any of you, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just saying.
Very triggered.
Ancestrally, we would have eaten them seasonally, not all the time with every single meal, every single day.
And when we could find no real food. And so if any of you guys want to grow a small patch of wheat in the backyard, and then you're like, I'm going to eat, 3% of my diet is wheat or tubers or whatever, I think that's perfectly appropriate. You'll probably do just fine.
It's supplemental
100%
for protein. Like if we can't eat enough protein, we need nutrients. Here's where we can get that from foraging and so on and so forth.
Janine says, can cold showers help lose weight? maybe a little, but it's not a big deal. If you just need to eat a proper human diet. The cryogenics, the cold water baths, what is it? Liquid nitrogen. People jump
it's
down
very trendy right now.
It's very trendy. It's very popular, and a lot of influencers are talking about it. But it might help 1%.
It's not going to hurt anything, and
Right,
it's mostly for like.
Yeah, it probably stimulates a lot of new cell production, but as far as weight loss, it's just eat a proper human diet.
It's a sprinkle on the cupcake. You know?
Rebecca keeps bacon in her purse to get through kicking the carb addiction.
Paul, how many drops of iodine for men and women? How much Keto Chow minerals per day? And do you still have a discount code?
Yeah, there's the Keto Chow minerals. They keep selling out on Amazon, but down in the show notes of this video, there's a link that goes directly to Keto Chow's website, and it has a discount code built in, so you can get your daily minerals. It tells you what a serving size is for a day. If somebody weighs under 80 pounds, they should use half of that. If they're a tiny baby like baby Beckett, I give him about 10 drops of this a day so that I know he's getting all his minerals, including iodine. But it's hard to find them in stock on Amazon. So go straight to the link down in the show notes. You'll get a discount and they'll be in stock.
Several people are asking about this. I think with the new year, we have a lot of newbies. Also, if you're new,
Excellent.
put new in the comments.
Yes.
So this is a newbie question because there's a lot of conflicting information out there. Can I eat dairy? Is dairy okay? Will dairy make me fat? Should I use dairy? Is dairy bad?
Yep.
What is your take on dairy?
Yeah. So I've got a few videos on this channel about dairy and what I think about dairy. But in a nutshell, there are 3 macronutrients. There are carbohydrates, there's fat, and there's protein, right? And so when you drink liquid milk, you're getting a lot of carbs through the lactose. You're getting some fat, and you're getting some protein. The protein in dairy for many people is inflammatory. Okay. So the further you move away from skim milk, which is the devil's armpit sweat, never should you drink skim milk. Okay. But as you move to fattier and fattier portions of dairy, and so for me, I never put any dairy in my mouth that's less fatty than heavy cream. Full fat cheese occasionally, stuff like that. The fat in dairy is fine for you. You can eat butter and ghee all you want every day as much as you want. But when you start branching out into the protein of dairy, a lot of people, it's inflammatory to them and they shouldn't eat it. The sugar in milk is not for adults. Milk is made for baby mammals to grow and gain weight as quickly as possible.
The realistic answer to this question is it depends on you. Some people can get away with eating cheese. Mm-hmm. Some people cannot. Mm-hmm. Some people can eat certain kinds of cheese like Gouda, Parmesan, Romano, the harder aged cheeses, but cannot get away with cheddar or the soft cheeses. Yep. And same with liquid dairy. I cannot eat or drink or put heavy cream in anything without having a hormonal breakout. But I can have the lactose-free, low-sugar milk in my coffee. So you really need, all of this comes down to, you need to know your body, how you react to certain kinds of foods. The best way to figure that out is to do an elimination diet. Carnivore is the best way to figure that out.
Yeah, and before somebody asks, I think that raw dairy is less bad than homogenized pasteurized dairy, but I still don't think that makes it good unless you're under 6 years of age, in which case you need to drink dairy every day because you're growing and gaining weight very quickly. But if you're an adult, especially an overweight adult, you never need to drink milk. Milk is not a health food for you.
Beckett drinks goat milk, for those of you who are going
every
to
day. That's right.
He had breast milk and then he had goat's milk. Veronica says acidity on keto. Could it be bile? I don't have a gallbladder.
I'm assuming you mean acid reflux or heartburn. I'm assuming is what you mean. Some people have this temporarily as they're converting. Virtually everyone, this goes completely away or gets 80 or 90% better after a few weeks. Many people eating the standard Western diet with severe heartburn, having to take medication, when they convert to keto, it gets completely better or 80% better. That's what happened to me.
Do you two agree to disagree? We agree on most things. We mostly disagree on
minutia.
Yeah. I mostly say, well,
all the major concepts we agree on because they make sense. Once you've researched this enough, you're like, well, duh.
I mean, the body's response to things is pretty concrete.
Yes.
It's the little things, like the little itty bitty things.
Yes, the devil's armpit sweat. That is what skim milk is, and that's also the egg white omelet is another part of the devil's anatomy. But I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Karen, Nisha, you said that your diagnosis of Hashimoto's was difficult to diagnose. How was it finally diagnosed? Were you ever on medications, and how did you fight depression? I have several videos on my YouTube channel that chronicle like the whole thing, the long version. The short version is my diagnosis came from him and was official per my fertility specialist. So it was documented when I went to the fertility specialist, and I had unknown, what they call undiagnosed infertility, but he was pretty sure it had to do with my thyroid. My antibodies never got super crazy high, but they were high enough, and my symptoms were so severe that he and Ken agreed that I had Hashimoto's because of my symptoms, my labs, and my family history. My mom has Hashimoto's. And then I was on medication. We were on Nature-Throid and Armour, depending on which one was available. Then I got into remission after I had Beckett, and that was through meat-based ketovore is what I call it. And I'm not on meds right now. And how I fought depression was meat-based keto, carnivore, ketovore. That's where my symptoms pretty much were totally gone. And then I also, you got to do some leg work up here too. I became a stoic. I practiced stoicism, and that helped a lot with anxiety and depression, the little bit that was left over.
Yeah, back when she used to eat a plant-based diet, even though she didn't call it that, that's effectively what it was. She was very dark many days, and she would try her best to get out of the depression, but you could just tell it was.
Well, paleo, I feel it is plant-based.
It can be 100%. Yeah, for many people, they still believe it in the plant-based paradigm, and so they're like, "Well, sweet potatoes and quinoa, that's natural."
I was having chicken, grilled chicken, quinoa, sweet potatoes, and salad.
Yeah, lots of salad on paleo.
Paleo. Yeah. Autoimmune paleo.
Yep.
And it still was crap. It didn't help me out.
Yep.
Serena, thank you so much. We love you back. Let's see here. Did you see another one over there that you wanted to say?
Let me see. Help with constipation. What is best to help get regular? Eat a proper human diet. Okay. If you're eating too much fiber, if you're eating too many grains, you're going to have some degree of bowel constipation or bowel inflammation or both. And so many people now, they used to have chronic constipation constantly. They're on either keto, fatty meat, heavy keto, ketovore, or carnivore, and their constipation is completely gone.
Scott wants to know, isn't butter dairy? Good question.
It's just the fat of dairy. Remember, there's 3 macronutrients. There's protein, there's fat, and there's carbs. And you get the carbs out of it, and you're left with just protein fat. But then with butter and ghee, it's just the fat. And dairy fat is a gift from the creator above.
Most people are fine with butter.
100%. I don't know of anybody who's sensitive to ghee or butter.
Gurinder. I'm never going to pronounce that.
Gurinder,
just eating lots of cottage Indian cheese homemade earlier on keto. This has raised my Harvey, and they're irregular. Is it calcium?
It's not the calcium. It's the inflammatory dairy protein. And very often when you take the liquid dairy and you let the microbe act on it and turn it into cheese, the dairy is no longer as inflammatory. But for some people, including her with heavy cream, including me with too much cheese, including you, evidently, it's inflammatory for us. And it can cause tachycardia. It can cause skin issues, brain issues, joint issues, gut issues. Some of us just need to avoid dairy protein. Now, I would encourage you to try sheep's milk or goat's milk or camel milk. Not kidding. Some places in the world, that's the alternative milk. For many people, they are not inflammatory. And so you still don't want the lactose that's going to be in there. But you can eat sheep's cheese or goat's cheese and maybe not have that problem at all. I noticed that cows, A1 cow's milk cheese, that's the thing that really triggers me the most. Sheep's cheese, I ate some we bought from Whole Foods, and I couldn't tell it affected me in any negative way whatsoever. So just don't forget, especially if you live in the U.S., you can make cheese out of stuff besides cow's milk.
Jennifer, what does neon yellow urine mean? Almost every single person who has neon yellow urine.
We're taking a bunch of supplements. Yeah, we're taking a bunch of supplements that can make your urine brilliantly yellow.
Yeah.
And Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't need the supplements, but probably it means you're taking too many supplements.
Andrea says, Nisha, you look pooped. Yes,
She is.
I am. He told me I still had to do this.
Does anybody not know that Nisha's pregnant? I didn't know if any.
Most
maybe,
of you know.
Maybe some people don't know that.
I am.
Yeah, she's pregnant.
I'll be 11 weeks
11
this
weeks.
week.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Almost out of the first trimester.
Do you guys think it's a boy or a girl? Look at her, and just tell me, boy or girl. What do you feel? What's your intuition tell you? I've got my guess, and she's got hers.
Yeah, we both have our guesses. Everybody, girl. Everybody is girl. What are you doing?
I'm looking for a question.
Well, don't look. I can't see what he asked you guys questions, and then he doesn't let me see what you're.
Oh, okay. You can watch it on your own. Oh, you're keeping up with the. Okay, gotcha. Never mind. Girl, boy, girl. Granny Berry thought that it was twins, and so did Beckett initially.
It is not.
But we've confirmed that it is a singleton. It is not twins.
It's uno bebe. Hey, Holly. Have fun on your road trip.
Oh, excellent.
Oops. I definitely think it's a girl. That's my guess.
I think it's a boy. I feel like it's a boy.
I just do not. Brian, Dr. B, I bought a steak with rub with activated charcoal. Is it safe to do this on Ketovore? And are there any benefits?
Probably no meaningful benefits unless you've ingested a poison. Then the charcoal will help that. But just make sure that it's zero carb. That's what you want is zero carb. Any rub, any condiment, any spice, make sure it's 0 grams of carbohydrates.
Angie, what should my blood sugars be? My fasting blood sugar is between 95 and 100, and I think that's too high. What are your thoughts?
It might be too high. The way you'll know, Angie, is to get your hemoglobin A1C checked. And you can check it every 3 months, every 6 months. But that's going to tell you, because many times you can have a physiological blood sugar that's 95 to 100 that's completely normal. And the way you'll know that is when you check your A1C, it's gorgeous. But if you're eating too many carbohydrates and that's keeping your blood sugar at 95 to 100, then that's going to show up in your A1C. That's how you know the difference.
Somebody asked to see Beckett. Beckett's not here. He's with his grandparents right now. Maybe he'll be back by the time we are done here.
Brittany, I see you've asked the question about DIM a lot.
DIM?
Well, it's a supplement that you can take. It's supposed to really help your hormones. I haven't seen any meaningful research on it that convinces me that it's anything other than a waste of money. But I will look into it again, Brittany, and everybody else who's asking about DIM. But currently, I think it's probably a waste of your money. You can optimize your hormones in much better ways that are less expensive.
Viva, Merry Christmas to you too. Yeah, Beckett thinks it's a girl.
Yes.
Charles, good evening. Can carnivore or ketovore improve dry eyes or anything related to eye health?
Yeah, definitely dry eyes. If you're not getting enough fat, if you're not getting enough omega-3 fatty acids or enough vitamin A or vitamin E, you can have dry eyes. And so most people, when they start eating a proper human diet, keto, ketovore, carnivore, they're going to increase the amount of fatty meat they eat. They're going to increase the fatty seafood. They're going to increase the egg yolks. And so they're going to get more omega-3s and vitamin E and vitamin A. And that usually makes the dry eyes go completely away.
Michelle says, girl. Thanks for the super chat. Sherry, hey, girl. Please give your non-political thoughts on the symptoms versus a bad cold. I've had 3 negative tests, but what's the best way to fight either one? Fasting? Question.
Yeah. So if you catch any virus, the best way to allow your body to fight that off as quickly as possible is to fast as much as you can with the infection. Now, if you have a bacterial infection or a more serious injury, fasting may not be the answer, but it still might be. But any viral infection that you catch, fasting is going to help your body fight it off quick.
Switchblade says, what are your thoughts on the 0-calorie energy drinks? That's how I always get my caffeine. I don't drink coffee.
If it's zero carb, and it's not full of nasty chemicals, it's probably not that bad. The reason I love coffee and tea is because they're completely natural. They're made from a leaf and a bean. And so I know that that's where they came from. But some of these energy drinks, you're like, what is this glow in the dark neon blue stuff I'm putting in my body?
There are several keto friend like this.
Yeah.
There's xylitol as the sweetener or erythritol or whatever. tons of keto influencers drink the Bangs and what's the other brand? I can't remember. A bunch of them drink them, and I
Red Bull?
it's hard to argue that there's much difference between coffee and those things when the ingredients are fairly similar. If there's a clean sweetener in there, like it's hard for me to say those are horrible, but coffee's fine. It's kind of hypocritical.
Paul says the boy sits out front, girls front and sides. Our girl was a swimmer, could watch her swim across her mama's belly.
Oh, really?
Aww.
That kid really didn't swim, He always sat right here and had his legs in my rib cage.
Sheena asked, what's my favorite coffee? There's actually a link to pretty much the best coffee I've ever put in my mouth in my entire life down in the show notes. Just look for my favorite coffee or best coffee.
My favorite coffee is Nespresso, but you didn't ask me.
Yeah.
Nettie, will keto carnivore improve enlarged optic nerves? I'm borderline for glaucoma, but my A1C is only 5.1.
It depends on why your optic nerve is enlarged. Now, an enlarged optic nerve is not glaucoma. Those are two very different things. If you've got an enlarged optic nerve, you need to be seeing ophthalmology and perhaps even neurology to figure out why the heck your optic nerve is enlarged. That's what you need to do.
Hey, Annie, thank you for sharing us in your group. Appreciate that.
Yeah, any of you guys, you're welcome to share this in any group or on any social media if you think it'll help people improve their health. That's why we're sitting here tonight chatting with you.
Mm-hmm. Alicia, can you please talk about what to feed kids? Is keto safe and optimal for their growth?
Yep. So let's go back in time 50,000 years. And Beckett is 2 years old. And what are we going to feed him? He's going to eat exactly what we eat, which is going to be a lot of fatty meat, a lot of eggs. And then if we're starving to death and I can't make a kill, he's going to eat some plants. But never is he going to eat grains. Never is he going to eat sugar. Never is he going to ever eat vegetable seed oils like soybean and canola. Never going to eat that shit, right? He's going to eat lots of meat and a little bit of veg. And that's the diet that we try to mimic for him every single day.
I don't feel the need to go back that many years. Okay. There are plenty of moms out there that support their kids' optimal health by feeding them a whole foods ketogenic way of life. We may not call it keto because that triggers people to come and attack us and tell us that we need to be reported to DHS, or DCS, whatever it's called now.
Yep.
But you can follow me. I'm sure Robert and Crystal Sykes, their new baby, will be fed a proper diet.
Yep. Dr. Robert Sivis.
Maria Emmerich,
Yep.
her two boys are basically carnivore.
Yep.
And Kelly Hogan, her kids are mostly meat-based. Like, there's tons of people doing this in today's age, and their kids are beautiful, healthy, very smart, and they're thriving. So you don't have to go back to that 10,000 years with people we don't even know about.
Right.
You can follow these people on Facebook and YouTube right now.
They're alive right now. But my point is this is not some new fad. This is actually the original human diet that we ate for 3 million years. Basically, we're just rediscovering it together.
It's just good for people to see someone really doing it and not have to say, well, Dr. Perry said that it's ancestral. Like, okay, yeah, but then also we're all doing it, and our kids are very healthy.
Yep.
Do we go to the doctor and say our kids on a keto diet? No.
Right.
We say we feed them whole food.
Whole food, no processed, no
healthy
sugar.
protein, healthy fats.
That's right. Yes.
Let's see here. Trevor, how do you feel about colostrum for psoriasis? I'm doing carnivore, and it helped then, kind of went backwards. Thanks for everything.
So if you're talking about colostrum topically, that's probably fine.
Yeah.
Drinking the colostrum might help since you have a pathological condition. But in my experience, the vast majority of people with severe, terrible psoriasis, when they get the carbohydrate intake low enough and when they get rid of the inflammatory plants that inflame them personally, the psoriasis gets 80, 90, 100% better. And so you might use some colostrum now as you're converting to a very, very low carbohydrate, uninflammatory diet, but I don't think that's something you'll need long term.
How do you have access to colostrum?
You can buy it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a breastfeeding wife, breast milk is good for any skin issue.
Yep. To put on top.
Topical, yeah. William wants to know, is deer meat a good fatty meat, or is it super lean? So
Super
it is super lean.
Super lean.
However, you can cook it in fat, add fat to the top, dip it in fat.
Wrap it in
You
bacon.
can wrap it in bacon. You can bread it with pork panko, which is basically all fat as
And
a
egg yolks.
breading,
Yep.
and Parmesan cheese and egg yolks. Yeah, so there's ways to add fat on there.
Yep.
It's very good, especially if you harvest it from your own land. I mean, it's still a great source of protein.
Yep, exactly right.
Crystal, bacon deer drool emoji. Yes. Fried deer in lard. That's right.
Eric is right. Any amount of alcohol is going to aggravate your psoriasis. If you have any kind of chronic medical condition, you need to just not touch the alcohol at all. That's basically, yeah.
Sheena wants to know, when will you two have a public get together? Do you have any plans for 2022 before the baby?
Yeah. Do we have any plans?
Before the baby, we will be in Atlanta in February. If you Google Adapt Your Life, that is Dr. Westman's program. We will be in Atlanta with him and Amy Berger and several other influencers speaking in Atlanta, February 19th. April will be in Utah, Salt Lake City, low carb event hosted by Keto Chow. May is the low carb cruise, which I won't get to be on because I will be 32 weeks pregnant and they won't let me on.
I'll be there.
But he will be there.
I wish you could come. You could fib a little.
Listen, last time I was pregnant, we did. I mean, we traveled every single month, twice a month, some months, my entire pregnancy till I was, I think, 7 months pregnant, to the point where I was getting on the airplane and the stewardess or the flight attendant was like, "How many weeks pregnant are you?" And they weren't being mean. They were just like, "Do we need to, like, is there a risk of you going?" That's how big I was. They were like, are you going to go into labor? You look kind of big, you know? But yeah, it's going to be fun.
Jay says, is there any, dang it, it jumped. Oh, sorry, Jay. Sorry. I was going to answer your question. Ask it again.
All right. Pia, low thyroid for 30 years. Should I get iodine, heavy metals, or hormone testing in conjunction with carnivore diet? I'm feeling better, but I'm still exhausted.
You just need to get about a milligram a day of iodine, either in your diet or as a supplement. The mineral drops have iodine in it. We use Lugol's 2% iodine solution off and on. But you need some iodine either in your diet or as a supplement every single day. And for most people, regardless of what thyroid condition you have or used to have or don't have, you need about a milligram, which is 1,000 micrograms of iodine a day in order to give iodine to every cell in your body, all of which need iodine.
All of those events I just spoke of are open to the public. They are ticketed events. We are not the hosts.
Yep.
So I think the Adapt one, I think it's maybe $50-something. I'm not sure how much low carb Salt Lake City. These are charged events, but they're open to everyone. Anyone can come.
We were planning on having a Tennessee event.
Then I got pregnant.
Somebody decided to make a baby, so now we.
I mean, I feel like this is 50-50, both of our faults.
Well, I mean, I'll take 10%.
Oh, really? 10%? All right, I will take 90%.
Nascent iodine's okay, Raymond. It's a little more expensive, and I haven't seen any research that compels me to believe that it's better than just Lugol's 2%. So, and that's all Nascent has in it. It only has iodine. It doesn't have all the other minerals like the mineral drops.
Danny, high sugar diet can exacerbate pathologies like cancer, infections, and inflammation. If we eat 20 grams of carbs per day, will our body use it for fuel, or will it still contribute to those diseases? That's an excellent question.
Excellent question. So, Danny, when you're eating 20 grams or less, you're not eating enough to cause a meaningful blood sugar spike. Because basically, if your blood sugar is normal, there's not a lot of excess sugar to feed the cancer. Because there are many cells, billions of cells in your body that need sugar, and they're going to use all that sugar up. There's not going to be a lot left over. But if you're eating a high carb diet and you're having blood sugar spikes 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, that's the extra sugar that the cancer needs to thrive and metastasize. Make sense?
I feel like we should mention Bad Nisha. Oh, we're so funny tonight. We had to go through IVF with our first pregnancy because of my thyroid issues. We tried for 3 years. My third year, I was like,
we tried hard too.
God, I was like, I was 33 And after you go to 35, then your chances of getting pregnant go down. So I was like, let's just go ahead. We did IUI twice, tried for 3 years naturally. So then we did IVF and got pregnant with Beckett. We only had 1 egg. So we didn't have any backups to get pregnant later. So it was like, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. And then I decided that we weren't going to have any more babies in October. And then, ta-da!
Yep.
God said, yes, you are.
Literally the day that we discussed me going to the urologist and having some plumbing work done, that night, yes, that happens. True story.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yes,
right?
Anita, every human being, every mammal on the planet needs iodine without exception. Even if you have thyroid cancer, if you have Hashimoto's, if you have hyperthyroidism, every cell in your body still needs iodine. I've got a video on this that I go into great detail, and all the research is down in the show notes. So I'm sure many of you guys, if you have Hashimoto's, hyperthyroidism, or thyroid cancer, your doctor has told you you don't need any iodine. That's absolutely wrong. Now, you don't want to be taking too much iodine if you have those conditions, but you absolutely have to have a certain amount of iodine every day to prevent goiter, which is 150 micrograms a day. But if you want to do more than just prevent a goiter, if you want to have excellent cellular health body-wide, you're going to have to get more than 150 micrograms a day.
Is Dr. Berry still seeing patients?
Yes, very
but
limited. I have a very small patient panel because we're very busy with our social media trying to reach the world.
Our priority is on
And with the
reaching as
farm.
many people as
Right.
possible. This is the way to do it.
Right.
But then we see like the few people in the local area that need him.
Yeah,
basically.
friends and old patients who've been with me for 20 years. I still see those people regularly, but I'm not taking new patients at this time.
Blah, 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 blah.
I'll tell you guys, we have discussed me starting to take some new patients, and if I do take any new patients, they will come from our Patreon tribe. So if you're like, well, I'd kind of like to be on the waiting list, the way to do that is to go to patreon.com. There's a link down below and sign up as a patron. And if I do take new patients, that's where the new patients will come from.
Basically, so we're building, I don't know if we talked about this in
I don't think we
public
have.
that way. So we're building what the cool kids call a content house, but essentially it's a house where we will host workshops for people to come in person and be able to be in person with us, ask questions, and basically boot camp. PhD Berry boot camp is what it's going to be. And then while you're here, you can book a visit with him, bring your labs, be set up, because he has to see you in person.
Mhm.
That's the law. You can't be a patient
The first time.
The first time.
Yep.
And then after that, he can do some telehealth with you. So we will offer that to our patrons first because they are our VIPs, basically. So
Yep.
logically, we'll probably book up before anybody else hears about
Yeah,
it.
patrons get first dibs, and currently I think there's 4,000 patrons. But when we start taking new patients, that'll be the waiting list. Heidi, where's the best place to get iodine? From food, Heidi. I've got a YouTube video about the 7 best iodine-rich foods. You can watch that video and then include 1 or 2 of those a day or several a week, and you'll get all the iodine you need.
On us says Dr. B, I'm 43. LDL is 210, HDL is 80, triglycerides 55, A1C is 4.8, calcium score is 0, weigh 140 pounds. My cardiologist prescribes statins with no other tests. What is your advice?
If you had a CAC score of 0, then even the American Heart Association agrees that you do not need a statin. And now this is not medical advice, but if any of you guys out there were my brother or sister, I would tell you to take the statins and throw them in the garbage. That's just how valuable statins are. But that's just my opinion.
You can also get iodine from a supplement. We take
Mhm.
Lugol's iodine, which you can find on Amazon.
Yep. And the Keto Chow's Daily Minerals, that has iodine in it, about 500 micrograms a day if you take a single serving. And so there's many ways to get it, but I want you to focus on getting iodine from the food that you eat. That's the most important way.
Deborah, no, count total carbs. That's what we recommend.
Yeah.
Louise, hunter-gatherer tribes all over the world eat honey since forever. Is it good? It isn't exactly pure sugar. Okay.
It is exactly 100%
it is
pure sugar.
And
Yeah.
also, are you going to the hive to get it?
Right.
Because
So-
I bet you're not.
Let's talk about this. Yes, our ancestors have eaten honey anytime they could get it. They ate all the honey, but they got it very rarely. And when you look at the paleoanthropological evidence on this, it's very clear they did eat honey, but it's also very clear that they were able to get it only very rarely. They didn't have hives, honeybee hives sitting out behind
They didn't have
the cave.
smokers.
They didn't have smokers. They didn't have suits.
Suits.
If you were going to eat some honey, you're going to pay for it, and your ass is going to get stung about 100 times. And yes, you would eat it and you would bring it back to the tribe, but that happened once or twice a year. So anybody that tells you that it's ancestrally appropriate and healthy and natural to eat honey every day, there's nothing to back that up. That's just their personal opinion. Humans love honey. I love honey.
Yeah,
you
me
love honey?
too. I love it. Yeah.
But to eat it every day is not okay.
I love it so much. Here's another thing too. Most of you who are our followers come from a history of carb addiction and binge eating
Yep.
and eating disorders.
Right.
And if you have honey in your house, it sounds like a good idea to have a tablespoon. But how many of you will stop at a tablespoon?
Well, you're going to start out with a teaspoon in your coffee, right? But then that teaspoon
Okay.
gets bigger
Then
and bigger
you're
and
like, I'm
bigger.
going to have another just in my mouth. Okay. It's just, it's a risk. It's a trigger
It's a
food.
slippery slope.
And there's just there's not that big of a benefit
Right.
versus the risk of you
Right.
falling off and eating an entire thing of honey.
Yes, and let me be very clear about this because there's a lot of perception out there, and a lot of gurus are like, no, there's magic in honey. There is special kinds of mystical nutrients. There's lots of minerals. That's all 100% bullshit.
Well,
Even the very expensive, like we saw Manuka honey at Whole Foods, it was like $60 for 3
now,
ounces.
there is one thing that honey is magical for: wound care, topical.
Topical, 100%.
If you work in a nursing home and you're a wound care,
100%. Yes.
honey will heal a wound.
Yeah.
Okay,
But there is no magic in honey.
you don't put it
to
in your
ingest.
mouth though.
No magic. All it's
You
going to
put
do is spike your blood sugar from the sucrose part, from the glucose part, and then it's going to make your liver work too hard from the fructose part. And yes, honey is 100%. It's 99.99% sugar. That's what honey is. I'm sorry.
We talk about Winnie the Pooh with Beckett. There's an episode where Winnie the Pooh eats all the honey and he can't fit through the door anymore.
He got too fat.
And
Yeah.
Beckett says he ate all the honey and he couldn't fit through the door because he ate too much honey.
That's right.
That's right. That's why we don't eat honey that much. All right. Blisterable. This is my first live. Welcome.
Welcome.
Working on carnivore. I blew it for Christmas. Is there
All right.
any benefit to coated silver?
Probably not enough benefit to be worth the price. Yeah. I think you meant colloidal silver. Some people swear by it. Some people can't tell it helps a bit. The research is very equivocal. Some colloidal silver is not truly colloidal and can actually be dangerous. Look up blue man syndrome after this live. But if you're truly getting true colloidal silver, there might be some immune and inflammatory benefits. Probably not much. Luis says, what seafood is best? I think that anchovies, sardines, and mackerel, the very small fish, are the best because they're almost always going to be wild caught because you can't really make a profit raising sardines in a fake pond because the nets, they're going to get out, right? And so if you're going to raise seafood in a farm situation for profit, you're going to raise humongous fish like swordfish and tuna and stuff like that. You want wild caught and you want them to be small so they haven't ingested lots of other fish, which is going to build up the mercury toxicity.
Hannah, are blueberries okay on the keto diet?
Yep,
Yeah.
in moderation. Yeah.
I hate the word moderation. So what
Yeah.
that actually means is on occasion,
A handful.
a handful, and seasonally. If you have blueberry bushes like we do on our land, we go and we pick the blueberries off. Well, Beckett does. There's none left for us by the time we
Yeah,
get
he eats
stuck
a lot.
with them.
And I eat a few every, for what, a month? We've got blueberries up
Yeah.
on the hill, and I'll eat a few when Beckett goes up there. I'll eat a few, and it's not a big deal. But that happens 3 weeks out of a 52-week year.
I buy organic blueberries for Beckett, and he eats them. But then he goes through phases where he doesn't want to look at a blueberry. Like he naturally knows I don't eat these all the time, and then he'll eat sausage for like 3 weeks and not even talk about a blueberry.
Yeah. Al Rue, I did recently. I had a cheat day. It was Christmas, and I cheated on carnivore with keto, and I bloated and felt like crap afterwards. Some people can eat keto and it's perfect for them. Other people need to be carnivores.
Evan, can excessive citric acid be damaging to the body? It's in all the electrolytes that I use, and I want to make sure it's safe.
Probably not. It's probably fine. Now, it will give you aphthous ulcers, and
it can cause gut issues for some people. And I will tell you, Element has a high amount of citric acid. Redmond's Relight, very low citric acid.
Yeah.
So if you're sensitive to it, or you feel like, I feel like after I drink electrolytes, my stomach doesn't feel good, try the ones with lower citric acid. Element are very tasty, but they have a lot of citric acid in them.
Redmond's has their own. It's very low in citric acid. It's RELYTE, Relight. Yeah. I think there's a link for Redmond's down below.
Code. Charles, I have a 5-year-old. I try to feed her as close to PhD. She mainly eats bacon every morning and chicken for dinner. Mm-hmm. She won't touch eggs, still drinks whole milk. It's organic K2. Will she be okay with only that?
That's great. That's great. Yeah.
She's doing well.
Absolutely. Try to get some beef into her as often as you can. If you can sneak some liver into the ground beef, if she'll eat ground beef, that'd be an excellent way to get her a multivitamin or a superfood. But if she's not eating ground beef yet, I've got one daughter, Abby Grace, won't still to this day. She's 19. She won't touch ground beef. She hates it. But all my other kids love ground beef.
White Tail Obsession Outdoors. Hey, what's up? I love your icon picture. That's a big buck. Been on keto for months, but always have this issue when I'm in the cold outdoors, especially when hiking. I get a massive headache and I can feel tension in my neck. Any ideas?
I can't imagine how that could be from eating a real whole food, ancestrally appropriate keto diet. Now, if you're eating a lot of keto junk and snacks and cakes and cookies and pies, maybe that could be contributing. Make sure you're using enough salt to taste, and make sure you're getting your electrolytes and your other minerals. But I can't imagine how any diet would give you that. I used to do that when I would go jogging in the cold weather. And that's back when I was eating just a crap standard American diet. But I would get a headache and kind of neck tightness and even jaw tightness, breathing the cold air and jogging. God, I used to jog. Oh. But I was eating standard American back then, tons of carbs.
John, I love your videos. Recently heard some keto experts saying it's not good to stay on keto with no breaks for a long time. Is that true? Would carb cycling for a few days ever be a good idea?
John, I haven't seen any research. I've heard the influencers saying this, but when I'm like, okay, well, show me some citations, show me some literature, show me a study. Nobody's got any studies, and so I think if you feel like you need to carb cycle out of keto every now and then and go back in, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to hurt you that much. But I don't know of any physiological reason why humans would need to do that. I think humans can eat keto their entire life. I think humans can eat carnivore their entire life and never have a single issue. But yeah, what do you say about that?
I agree. I don't think there's any physiological reason to have to carb cycle. I think some people like to carb cycle and some people can carb cycle. And ancestrally, you could say that we did carb cycle. Here's where carb cycling becomes a problem. When it's a person who has a problem with carbs and the carb cycling becomes a crutch that they use as an excuse to go off plan, and then that carb cycle turns into a carb crash, and then you have to restart all over again because you went down this carb hole.
Carb cycles turn into carb crashes. I like that. That's really good for some people, and I'm one of those people because just the term cycling, that sounds very sciencey. Yeah. Like athletes, they cycle out of this steroid to that steroid. They cycle this and that. But humans didn't cycle. We just ate as much fatty meat and eggs as we could get our hands on. And then if we couldn't find any meat or eggs, we would cycle out of our keto and eat some plants or some grass or something. But we never did that on purpose for health benefits. We did it because we couldn't find fatty meat.
The argument I see some of these people saying is that it's to keep you metabolically flexible.
That's
but the problem with that is that's assuming your body somehow becomes unable to be able to burn carbohydrates, which is not true. Your body can do it.
That's right.
Just like when you're addicted to carbs, your body can run on fat. It just doesn't like to because you've allowed it to run on carb for so long. But it still can. That's why you're able to convert to being a fat burner once you go through the keto flu and all that transition period. But once you do that, the world, something happened and we had to eat grains, if he hadn't eaten a grain for 20 years, he would still be able to eat it and utilize 100%. Those
If I'd been strict beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for 25 years and you gave me a jelly donut, my body would immediately start to burn those carbs. It's not like your body's like, oh shit, how do you do that carb thing again? I forgot.
Your body is naturally metabolically flexible.
Yeah.
It just doesn't like to do it if you've given it carbs and it's happy there because it's
right. Carbs are easier.
Yeah. But once you become fat adapted, you can go back and forth. It's the people who can't go back and forth without having that problem.
Yeah. So even a woman doesn't need to carb cycle, in your opinion?
I don't think it's necessary now.
Even somebody with Hashimoto's, they don't need carbs.
I don't carb cycle.
So you're a woman who has Hashimoto's and you never carb cycle, except for Thanksgiving and Christmas. That was our carb cycle.
I tried carb cycling and it made me worse.
Yeah.
And so I stopped doing that and I had less issues. So,
Marty, you can Google what are hives, and that you can do an internet search and it'll tell you what hives are. There's a lot of good. Wikipedia's got a great article about what hives are.
Kristen, I have PCOS. I started keto recently. After breakfast, I end up in the bathroom with trouble. What could be wrong? You've just started, and some people have gut issues.
Yeah, for a few weeks. Yeah, a few weeks, few days, few weeks, sometimes a month or two, but 99% of that's gone after a week or two or three.
It depends. Also, though, if you've started keto and you've watched a bunch of people and they're like MCT oil every day in your coffee, it could also be the MCT oil. Since you're saying it's after breakfast, maybe you're putting MCT oil in your coffee, and a lot of people have bowel issues.
I had to stop the MCT oil because I had trouble. Yeah. If I put too much in my coffee.
It also could just be that you're eating a lot of fat with breakfast. You used to eat, toast and something, and now you're eating a ton of bacon and eggs.
Frank says, will apple cider vinegar help microbiome or destroy it? Neither. Yeah, apple cider vinegar is good. If you have heartburn, you can take a swig of it. It's great for making Ketorade. We've got a YouTube video on my channel about that. But there's nothing magical about apple cider vinegar, just like there's nothing magical about honey. There's nothing magical about oatmeal. There's nothing magical about bananas. But if you talk about any of those four things in a negative way on YouTube, you always get some hate because people have this magical belief about apple cider vinegar, bananas, oatmeal, and the other thing I forgot. But there's nothing magic. Honey. There's no magic. It's just macronutrients and micronutrients in some combination. That's all those things are.
Do we need carbs for muscle building to replace glycogen?
No.
Can we eat 60 to 70 grams of carbs from tubers? Of course you can.
Sure you can, Gurinder. And that might be perfect for you because you're under 100 total grams a day. But for some of us, if I started eating 70 grams of tuber carbs a day, I would start to get fat, 100%.
Robert Sykes, who is Keto Savage here on YouTube, he has a podcast, he has a website.
And his wife has a boy, man-child in her belly.
Yes, they're pregnant too. And he does tons of bodybuilding competitively, and he is as low carb as it gets, super high fat, keto. So check him out.
Yeah, Robert, I just typed him into the chat. Keto Savage. Look at if any of you guys are like, no, you can't build muscle. You got to have carbs. You got to carb cycle. Go look at Keto Savage and then shut the hell up about the carbs. You don't need carbs.
Heather. Okay, somebody said answer Heather's question. I think there's probably a bunch of Heathers. Hopefully this is the right Heather. Done keto for 8 months. I'm 5 months postpartum. Congratulations. I eat as close to zero carbs and sugar as I can. In October, my blood work showed my LDL was 255, HDL was 40, and triglycerides were 173. My sugar was 84, and I weigh 128 pounds. Is this concerning? So you're 5 months postpartum.
Yep. Right? And so the only thing concerning about your blood work is your HDL is still a little low and your triglycerides are still a little high. And that tells me that on the keto that you're currently eating, you're still eating about 20% too many total carbs a day.
Zero carbs.
No, keto.
She said,
where's it?
Close to zero carbs as sugar as I can get.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, good. So keep doing that because we've got to get the triglycerides under 150, and also, I'd really like the HDL above 45.
When you're postpartum, like the first year postpartum, your body is going through like a whole bunch of crap. So that could also affect your lab work too. How are you feeling? Are you feeling really good? Because that's important.
If what you're asking is the LDL being high, I think that's not a risk factor for anything for you. I wouldn't worry about that. Continue the low carb.
I would like to say, if any of you are pregnant, trying to get pregnant, or just had a baby, I would love to have you in my group. I would love a bunch of moms in my group. That would be awesome.
N1 Uno 1965 says, hello, newbie from Leavenworth, Kansas. Will you please read your next book when it comes on Audible. It's her fault that I didn't read Lies My Doctor Told Me.
Technically, it is my fault, but actually, it's his fault because he took forever to make a decision. Okay?
No, there was an earthquake in California, so I couldn't go to Vegas because she was afraid I would die in an earthquake. That's the truth. It's all her fault. The guy who read it did a great job. If you guys didn't know, Lies My Doctor Told Me is available on Audible. You don't have to read it. You can listen to it. But yes, the next book that comes out that deserves an Audible, I will be the voice of that book, yes.
Johnny says, shout out to Sean Baker, who also builds muscle on carnivore. Yes,
100%,
he does.
100%.
And he is
53. He's older than me.
Is
Yeah,
he?
older
I
than
thought
me.
y'all were the same age.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, Sean Baker builds muscle. Who else is a lady carnivore? No, what is her name? Little bit fit girl, carnivore, and she's super fit lady.
Yep.
So if you're a woman,
Zane Griggs here in the Nashville
Zane,
area, he's
yeah.
very muscly. He's almost a pure carnivore. You don't need to eat carbs to build muscle. That's a very common myth. And a lot of very influential bodybuilder gurus say that, but it's just not true.
Kimberly, if you'll go to my YouTube, go subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be announcing groups details over Dr. Baker's 55 actually.
55. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's 1 year
there's-
older than me.
Okay. Hang on. There's a really good one. Dr. Fit and Fabulous isn't carnivore, but she is buff.
Yeah.
She's low carb keto.
Yep.
She's much more flexible because she is so fit.
Yep. Stephanie Person is almost 100% carnivore.
But
And
she
she's
is
very muscular and very
Fat
thin.
based too. So those of you who don't eat a lot of fat, like that
Yep.
lady eats a ton of fat.
Goody Beats is low carb keto. He's not carnivore, but he still eats a very low carb diet, and he's very muscular, 100%. Yep. Eric says, what kind of diet do you recommend for type 2 diabetes and IBS? Either keto, ketovore, or carnivore. And when I say that, I mean one ingredient, whole, real food. I don't mean keto snacks and treats and cookies and cakes and pies. I mean lots of fatty meat, lots of eggs, a little bit of veg, a few nuts. And then if you've got IBS and it's really bad, you might want to consider carnivore, because either keto or carnivore is going to reverse your type 2 diabetes. It's going to go away. I'm dropping a new video about lies that type 2 diabetics believe tomorrow on this YouTube channel. So be watching for that. But if you have type 2 and irritable bowel, you might want to consider carnivore.
Mark says, I've been doing very low carb, almost carnivore for 4 months. I've been losing weight great, but the last 3 weeks I've had a stall. Tips to break a stall.
Yeah, so not losing weight for 3 weeks is not a stall. That's just a temporary pause. But I've got a YouTube video on this channel about the 13 reasons why your weight loss might stall on keto or carnivore. Check out that video because I talk about every single possible reason you might be stalled. But at 3 weeks, your body's just taking a pause. The fat loss is going to pick back up. You guys go subscribe to Nisha Loves It on YouTube as soon as this is over. We're trying to get her to 100,000. What do you got now?
91.
91,000. Come on, guys. We need 9,000 more subs.
Please. Look, I'm pretty entertaining.
She's pretty entertaining. I agree.
All right, guys. We went over time.
Oh,
I'm sorry
didn't we?
Beckett is not home yet. He must be having a really good time with his grandparents. Oh, no.
There they
Here he
come
comes.
right
We'll
now.
wait.
You guys want to see baby Beckett? And this is a baby who's 25 months old. Is it okay after 2 to still talk about months, or do I just need to say a 2-year-old?
I hate when people
Yeah,
do
me too.
that.
Me too. But I was trying to be precise and specific. But this baby has been eating under 20 total grams of carbs since day one. The most carbs he ever got in his mouth is when he was sucking breast milk. He was getting more than probably 20 grams a day then. But now he wakes up every morning. He has bacon and eggs or sausage and eggs. And then for lunch, he has a hamburger, a cheeseburger. And then he'll have a few cashews, a few blueberries. And then he has meat for dinner. And then he drinks goat milk through the day.
Drinks a lot of milk.
Yeah, he loves the goat milk, and it doesn't cause inflammation.
He also has data water, which is electrolyte water.
It's Relight, Redmond's Relight powder, lemon lime, and I mix that and I put 3 or 4 drops of the daily minerals in there, and he calls that daddy water, and he loves to drink daddy water.
We get Peterson's sausage, by the way, which is super clean. But if we can't find that, sometimes it's hard. We just get the 0 carb. So whatever sausage is 0 carb.
Big boy Beckett.
Are you sleepy, baby? Did you just wake up? Hi. He's going through a growth spurt.
He just woke up, so this may not be great. But if you want to see baby Beckett, he's
Give me hugs.
slowly heading this way.
Hi, baby.
Come to me, baby.
No, not today.
He's not having it. He just woke up. Bring him in here, Lovey, and hold him. Let him say hi. Everybody wants to see baby
Did
Beckett.
he just wake up?
No, I got him up about 30 minutes ago.
He slept.
He was been exhausted.
He's
Slide
not
in
gonna go
here.
to bed
I think he's going
tonight.
through a growth spurt.
Maybe.
Slept all day.
There's
Baby Jesus.
Yeah.
Right.
Come here, baby.
Let me see you.
Go see.
No.
Let
okay.
her,
It's
let
okay.
Lovey stand behind you so he
It's
can just
okay.
peek in.
No, I don't want to make him.
No, I don't want to make him.
Well, he's not going to put his face is literally buried. You know.
Fine, be that way.
You can see him on my channel.
Yeah, Lewis, you can eat shrimp, octopus, oysters on the regular. Any shellfish, any crustacean is basically a superfood. They're full of vitamins and minerals and all the omega-3 fatty acids. Absolutely. All right, guys, that's it. We're done. Don't forget to hit the thumb and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Go subscribe to Nisha Loves It. We got to get her to 100K. She deserves to have 500K, but I don't know. YouTube is not loving her much right now. And then watch tomorrow. I'm dropping the video, the 10 lies that type 2 diabetics believe. And if you know a type 2 diabetic, please share that video with them. It could literally save their life.
And if you want to come join our private community on Patreon, well, not mine, it's his. On Patreon,
She's on there too.
the link is
sometimes.
in the description. We'll be live over there tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah,
No,
I
and
do
Wednesday. 2 on Wednesday.
3 extra lives a week with instead of 2,500 people watching, there's 100 to 200 people. So I answer every question in great detail. All right, guys. Thank you. Love you, mean it.
Bye.
See you later.